to 13, and we are 13. So I won the bet.
Genius.
So very happy to have you here today. So we have been doing these meetings for many years. We started during COVID to help people get into the virtual settings, get more comfortable with this. I don't think this is needed nowadays, but we still need to connect with people. We still need to learn and to share, to find like-minded people, creative people. And that's why I keep inviting special people to join and share their knowledge, their genius. So today we have Carlos, who I have been known for BC, before COVID, right? We were talking before the session. Looked like eons ago. So I have been following Carlos' work. It's an amazing body of work. And he will share a slice of his knowledge today with us in some practice. So Carlos, thank you for making the time to be here. Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Fernando. And yeah, thank you, Carolina, for being here as well and supporting. This is, let's say, on one hand, a whole new experience for me because a new community, new set of people, and to be supported this way with Fernando and Carolina in terms of presenting, that's really, and learning some new things as well along the way. And also very familiar. A lot of my work is done this way. We run an organization, myself and my business partner, Lawrence McCahill, called the Happy Startup School. We help people transition from work that feels effortful and to some extent meaningless in terms of you've lost your mojo to something that's more energizing, exciting, and meaningful. One thing that captures this transition well is a book called The Second Mountain. The first mountain being one where we achieve material wealth and status, some kind of success based on those measures. You get to the top of that mountain and you think, okay, what's next? It's that feeling of like there's something more to this. And so we help people find the second mountain. What is that thing that feels more purposeful, more meaningful, and feels more aligned to who they are? So that's the broader context of our work. When people find that, when people find this new pathway, they want to talk about it, they want to share about it. Social media seems to be one of the simplest channels to start amplifying your impact. And so today I'm going to sort of share my learnings of using one channel, which is LinkedIn, to amplify my message. And many of the people we work with, we would consider are companies of one. And solo founders, solopreneurs who love the freedom and the agency and autonomy of working for themselves, the variety that gives, but also realizing in order to work effectively, to have that impact, they will lean on technology, they will lean on platforms, they will use the wondrous beauty of the internet and technologies like this to make change and to help others. So reaching out to these people, connecting with the right people, that's, for me, marketing. Some people find that a horrible word. For me, marketing is about helping people find you, helping the right people find you. Because one of the things there's something I learned about marketing. If you do it, there's no guarantee that it will work. The only guarantee is if you don't do it, it won't work. So this is the fascinating thing around this, is like, don't expect it to work, but it won't work if you don't do anything. So I'm going to start off with a little poll because we're focusing on LinkedIn today. I'd love to get a feel for your experience and your relationship to LinkedIn. So I can get a read of the room and get an understanding of where people are at. So then I can, at some level, either pitch it right, but actually, cater for the needs in the room. And if this is something that you know well, then please bear with me. Hopefully there might be something new you learn, or it'd be helpful to reinforce your own practice. But like I said, in the description, I'm going to share my own journey to extend the results of my own journey of trying to engage more intentionally with the platform and just share what I think are the benefits. So I'll give you another few seconds to complete the poll. 2 more people to share. 93%. Okay, right. Going. All right, gone. I'm going to just end that. So we have the majority of people sporadically write on LinkedIn and find hard to get into a habit. Some lurk and read but never post, and a couple of you are already writing and you love it. Great. I'm going to be talking to the ones who who find it hard to get into a habit, and I'm going to share some things that I've been doing to make that happen. With that in mind, also in the chat, is there anything else that you want to get from this session? It'd be useful for me to understand the things that you are curious about in terms of LinkedIn. We may address it in this session, we may not. But if I'd be curious to hear or to read, what would you like to leave this session with, and how would you like to feel? So one thing that you'd like to learn, or a skill you would like to acquire, and one feeling that you'd like to come away with, and that feeling could be happy, connected, empowered, entertained. Name it in the chat. Another thing that I like to do, which is core to our work at the Happy Startup School, is to create a sense of connection. And so we do that through our writing, we do that through our events, and we do that through the spaces that we host, whether they are in person or virtual. And so I'm going to give you an opportunity in a bit to meet one other person in the group, and to just to introduce yourself, and to just feel like there's like at least one other person you know here, or you've got to know. So give you a chance just to share in the chat now your intentions with the platform and this session, I should say, and then we'll go into pairs. And let me know, whoever's doing the breakout rooms, when we're ready to go. In the meantime, I'm just going to read through what we have here in the chat. So Pamela's looking for compelling reason to use LinkedIn. Is it worth my investment? Okay, cool. We've got how to create a habit, curious and open to learn. Curious to learn more about your process and developing your writing habit. Thank you, Georgie. How to get into a habit, great. Clarity about my intent, cool. I will definitely tackle or give you some exercise to understand that clarity. How to start and keep momentum writing, well, Fernando will try and get a 7-day momentum going. Be more authentic, to become a more authentic thought leader. Cool, well, I'll see if I can tackle that. Create more engagement in LinkedIn, feel more confident about posting, okay, great. Most of these things I will be able to tackle. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll give you just 5 minutes to get to know someone in the group. There's a prompt that Caroline has now shared, so 2.5 minutes each. If you can keep to time, just be aware of the timing yourself. But you can see the prompt. Ultimately, starting to the ball rolling and thinking about, who are you writing for? I think that's the most important question here. To just share with people, who are you writing for when you go onto this platform, LinkedIn? So let me know when
So I'll open the breakouts, 5 minutes in pairs.
Cool.
Here we go.
See you in a bit.
One thing that I always pay attention is the speed of this movement to the breakouts. There is a correlation with the connection and computers. Some people are really fast, some people are really slow.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something we don't experience as much, because most of our people are usually within Europe, so we don't necessarily, I don't get the sense of the different.
Yeah, with this difference in locations, it's really different.
Yeah.
In Brazil, we have, just within Brazil, we have so many differences. So
wow, just in Brazil.
Yeah.
Wow. Gosh. Yeah, that must be interesting in terms of lag. Talking about lag, I think we with my timings, we may be a few minutes behind. Do people tend to be quite well? How are you with kind of moving past the 90 minutes? Or should I
Usually
really focus on?
we close it sharp at 90 minutes.
Okay. I can
Sometimes some people need
readjust.
to leave.
Okay, I'll try and readjust then.
Mhm.
No problem. I'll see how we can chip away at bits and pieces. I might, particularly towards the end, might make it a little bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you had a lovely conversation, met someone nice, made a new friend.
And welcome for those who came in the middle of the start. Monica, Clyde, Charla. Welcome.
Awesome. Welcome. Okay. Good to see you all back. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to briefly talk about the journey we're going to go on over the next, where are we? We've got another, 60 minutes more or less. No, 70 minutes. So it's going to be fast paced. So apologies for that. This is going to be so a mantra for the next 70 minutes. Perfection is the enemy of done. So we're going to have some exercises. You're going to do stuff. At the very least, you're going to come away with a structure to use for yourselves. I have a booklet, a virtual PDF that we can get emailed to you, which is everything that we're going to be working through today, this afternoon, or today. I forget the time zone differences. But we're going to try and cover some of the key points. I'm going to try and cover some key points and give you an opportunity to ask questions at the end. Before I go into that, I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about why I found it, well, what's happened when I started to build my own habit on LinkedIn. I've only done that recently, been really consistent, and I'm just going to show you some just specific tangible metrics, full stop. Just to give you like the irrational side of your brain, some kind of justification for doing this stuff. So I posted this on LinkedIn, so you'll be able to see this out of this. But this is over 30 days. I posted daily over 30 days. And it isn't a magic formula for making money, but it does have some effects. And the measurable effects that I found by doing this work is I had 300 more followers. Now there's a setting on LinkedIn where you can be a content creator or not. If you set yourself to be a creator, you can see yourself you can find how many followers you got. And I had 300 more followers after the 30-day thing. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing for you, I don't know. But for me, it's important because it increases my reach. And that was an interesting effect. The other thing was I had 50% more engagement on my posts. So more likes, more comments from that. The next thing was I had 1,000 more impressions on average. So impressions are the times a post appears in your followers' feeds and people's feeds. So on average, you can see that graph. Day one, it jumped up and it kind of had an average of about 1,000. And then in terms of certain posts, it was interesting that I had this graphic thing had 6,000, nearly 7,000. I think we're now at 8,000 impressions. And then I have this guide, which is the guide that I'm going to be walking through with you now. I think at the time it was about 4,000 impressions. I probably got about 6,000. So what is the lesson there? I think there's something around when you provide information that people can snack on and use, it's likely that they're going to have a look at it. If people look at it, it gets pumped up the algorithm and more people will see it. But ultimately, posting has had a measurable effect in terms of followers. I found some little hacks. If you mention someone who has a large following, it affects how people engage. So if you know someone who has 10,000 followers and you mention them because you think their work is great or you've been influenced with them, which is what happened with one of those posts, you can get a massive boost. I wrote this guide and that had a measurable effect. So something that people can learn from in a very structured way is acceptable. It helps people sort of engage and it helps you. And then following a simple structure that allowed me to just post every day without having to rethink all the time, what am I supposed to post, what am I supposed to post, how am I supposed to post it, really helped with the consistency. So I'm going to talk about that consistent habit and how I developed it for myself so that you can take away some thoughts and ideas of how to do it for yourself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share my screen again, and I'm just going to go through essentially the guide that I'll be sharing with you all. and we're going to just walk through it. And I'm going to get you to do some exercises as we go along. So let me put my screen up again. Okay. Hopefully you can all see that. This is the PDF guide that I'll be sending out. I'm going to ignore all the bumps. I'm going to jump to the structure. So from this guide, there's 4 things, key things: story, structure, scheduling, and self-care. Self-care for me is really important because it can feel really draining having to always post on social media, and it can really knock the stuffing out of you. Just like you can get very cynical. So I'll talk to that at the end, but I'll provide first off some pointers about what it means to the way I look at it, how to really engage and get motivated and make it meaningful to write. And that thing is about story. A lot of the time it's like, oh, why do I have to do this? The stories that we tell ourselves about what's stopping us from actually writing, there's this kind of imposter syndrome or the fear of being judged. I want to try and get away from that and just focus on the creative aspect of it, the aspect of you just expressing yourself in a natural way from a place of curiosity and a place of care. And as much as possible at the beginning, ignore algorithms, ignore likes, ignore comments, ignore all of those statistics, and just focus on creation. And that core bit is story. What is the story you're trying to tell? And when I think about story, it's forgetting all the selling bit, forgetting about trying to get clients. Think about connecting with people and understanding where they're at, what they want, what can help them. And with that, this idea of, and I got this from a guy called Tad Hargrave, who runs a thing called Marketing for Hippies, thinking of 2 islands. Yeah, your audience, the people you want to help, the people you want to write for, are on island A. Yeah, and they want to get to island B. And so the first job is, what's island A like? How does that? What's going on island A? And what is island B like? And what's amazing and beautiful about island B? And what's stopping them from getting from one place to the other? And how can you help them? What's the boat that you're going to build to get them from one place to the other? So that's the simple sort of premise around the story. So what I'd like to do is give you a chance to start thinking about the story in those terms and just plotting some stuff on a Miro board. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share with you what that board looks like, and then we're going to share the link so that you can actually have a play yourself. So as an example, get this up for you now. Hopefully you can see this. So we call this idea of starting with who. So it's like, who is it that you're trying to help? So with me, one of the sort of archetypes of the people I work are midlife founders and professionals. So people who've been 10, 20 years either running their business or in their work, and they're just like, what's next? I need something a bit more meaningful. I want to do something different. I'm bored, potentially even burnt out by my work. And Island A is, I kind of lost my energy. I don't actually know what meaningful work means to me anymore. I don't know what to do. What's my next step? And Island B is, I've got a clear idea of success. It really excites me, and I've got some tangible steps that I can go on next. So those are the 2 contrasting islands, the people I work with. And so what's getting in their way? Well, they don't give themselves permission to try because there's probably some fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of the unknown. They're not giving themselves permission because they don't think they're allowed to do it, because either friends, family, society say, stay in a safe job, stay doing what you're doing. They're on their own thinking this way, so they lack a sense of community, and they're overwhelmed by all the different things they need to think about. So that's an example of how to use this board. So I'm going to give you not a lot of time, but 6 minutes. Let's make it 5 minutes so we have enough time. 5 minutes to work on this board. Hopefully the link is now in the chat, or it will come up in a bit. Will you be posting that, Carolina?
I just posted the link.
Thank you. So check to see if you can access the Miro board. If you can't, just wave your hand or say something, and we can put the template on screen, and you can just do it on a piece of paper in front of you, if that's easier for you. So let us know. Is that a yes, Anne-Marie? Would you? All right. So I will share my screen
I can
then.
see it. I can access it. That's what I was just saying.
Oh, you can access it. Good. All right.
Yeah.
If you can't access it, or you have trouble with Miro and you'd rather do it on pen and paper, let us know, and then we can just show that on screen for you.
Maybe one hint, Carlos, to let people know that there are many frames underneath yours.
Oh yes, thank you. So if you go on the Miro board, you'll see there's lots of copies of the canvas. The invitation is to grab one, put your name next to it where it says type here, and then use that that frame, those two canvases, for the rest of the session. And hopefully, I'm just checking. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And then
do we have to log in to be able to write in?
you shouldn't need to. It should be an open board that anyone can edit.
It doesn't. It says that if I want to edit, I have to log in. And I see the. Okay, never mind. I'm going to try. No.
Do you have options to log in, Fanny, with like Google account?
Yeah, I have a Miro account, but I just didn't want to go there. No, that's fine. I don't have to.
Okay, good.
Oops. Okay, so someone is writing on the same frame as I do, so I'm going to choose another one.
Frame fighting.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
frame fighting.
Here you go.
No
5 minutes.
No
That's a
fighting.
good one.
Going to the next one.
Carlos, I have a question. The island A is where you are, and island B is where they are.
Island A is where they are at now,
Okay.
and Island B is where they would love to be.
They would love to be. Great. Thank you so much.
No worries, Pamela. That's quicker to do it outside of Miro. That's good. Again, it's just a process to just get some ideas out of your head, and then I'm going to have some conversations around it in a bit. So, like I said, this is going to be quite fast paced. I'm going to give you 3 more minutes to see where you can get to.
When did you get the link in the chat?
No, I'm just freestyling here. I'm doing the job in my own.
I just
Right.
put it. Yeah, sorry. I saw
Sorry,
that you
because
arrived, but I missed that you arrived a little bit later after we post in the chat.
I was on my phone. That's why, and then I arrived home and
Yeah, so the kids are safe home now.
yes, at least one.
One more minute.
We've just got about 30 seconds left, and then we're gonna get into groups of 3, and you're each gonna just present or just talk through what you've managed to get through and put down, and the other 2 in your trio or triad is going to ask you some questions to get a better feel for who you want to write for and the Island A, Island B, and challenges they're facing. Okay, in classic exam style, students, put your pens down. And what you're going to have, in terms of timings, we're going to give you like 3 minutes to share, and then 3 minutes for the other 2 to reflect, ask questions, probe, and there's some prompts that we can give you in terms of in the chat, some prompts for the questions you'd like to ask, but ultimately to coach your group members into a bit more clarity about what they put down if they need it. Okay, so 3 minutes and 3 minutes. So we should be in breakout rooms for about 18 minutes. Okay.
So I'll give them a challenge to do this in 15.
Ooh.
Just to spice things a little bit.
There you go. 2 and 3, 2 and 3.
Yeah. Here we go.
Cool. So yeah, I know Kerry, and so this is, I feel like it's a good example here. So who she serves, and she's a copywriter herself. So she's serving copywriters, content creators, and small business founders, solopreneurs. So people with not a lot of time, but the need to create and write. And so where are they in Island A? Well, Island A, they're confused and nervous about AI tools. So there's this thing about this AI there. Can we use it? Can I not? How do I use it? What's going on? What does AI mean to me? And there's this overwhelm sensation. So get that feeling. And so Island B, what is Island B? Knowledgeable about AI. So they feel empowered. They know how to use the tools wisely, and they're not sacrificing their human creativity. They're not being a slave to technology. They feel confident and excited about this technology. Great. So there's a real contrast between these 2 islands. There's a real, not only a tangible problem, but also that emotional aspect of it. It's like, oh, overwhelm. And so what's getting in their way?
If we have more contracts between island A and B, the better, right? Yeah.
And the more clearly that you can have these one-to-one contrasts, from overwhelm to calm, from lack of knowledge to empowered and knowledgeable, to not knowing what tools to use to using a tool, then it starts to make sense. Okay, right. I know what the journey is here. And so the things that are getting in their way, fear of losing their jobs onto tech. So there's an anxiety thing. Oh my God, what does it mean for my job? Feeling that they're left behind, feeling overwhelmed, not to make a choice, feeling like it's beyond their capabilities. And so what we're going to do next is talk about, all right, what can I write about to address these topics, these objections, these challenges? And we're going to have the next session is once they've understood or got a feel for the people they're serving and the challenges that they're facing, we'll have a brainstorm, like what topics could I write? Like 3 tools, AI tools that's going to help your copywriting business. How AI won't impact your job. How to get up to speed with AI in 5 minutes, or read these resources to learn about how you can use AI right now in your work. Things to ignore.
Yeah.
In terms
Forget
of
about
AI.
this. Focus on this.
Forget about that. Exactly. And that way, it's like, okay, even with that, you got 5 posts. Boom. That I'm sure Kerry could easily write without batting an eyelid, and which would be useful for the person they want to serve. Okay, let's see. Who else have we got here?
Nice.
Someone with lots of stuff is easier. Okay, let's see. All right. Sydney. What is Sydney saying? So, international development, CSR, ecological transition, other non-profit NGO professional leaders. Okay, cool. So I don't know the topic matter really well. One thing that's striking me is it's hard to grab hold of someone here. So I'm going to look at non-profit leader, someone who's leading a non-profit. So Island A, they're at a crossroads in the development of their organization and don't know how to structure their next move towards growth or adaptation. Okay, great. So they're needing to change the business. They're on the precipice of doing something quite tangible to their organization. What I'm not feeling is like, what are they scared about? You know, what are the challenges? What are they confused about? What is the difficulty they're facing, or what's uncomfortable of the situation? What's lacking right now? What's happening right now on Island A? Island B, they have a
happening
clear
at the crossroads.
Yeah, exactly. What's happening at this? What's stopping them from taking a step nearly? So describe Island B. They have a clear and logical roadmap that defines their organization's goals and operational steps to achieve. So Island A is like, I have no idea what my organizational goals are. I have lack of clarity about what organizational goals are. And I don't know. And with that, I'm not really sure how to achieve them. And I don't have a map or steps. You know, I'm confused. I'm overwhelmed. What's getting in their way? Lack of global vision. So I'm not sure what that means, but lack of a high awareness of what's going on, a high level view of what's happening with my organization. New competition, untapped potential partnerships. So new competitions, I'm an incumbent and people are coming on board. So I'm feeling, feeling threatened by new competition. Maybe there's, I'm aware that business can be taken away from me. Untapped potential
changes happening, maybe.
Yeah, there's lots of, again, that overwhelm. There's lots of I'm trying to sort of like tackle lots of problems, lots of fires. I'm firefighting. That would go for me back into Island A, that fear of feeling like I'm firefighting. There's opportunity that maybe I can't see, but I can see, but I don't have a chance to take advantage of. Something stopping me. I don't know what that is. So what is stopping them from tapping into those potential partnerships? Lack of awareness, lack of capability, lack of resources, lack of connections. And then new regulations. So what is it about new regulations? Inability to bring them on board, work with them, just lack of knowledge that they're there. Okay, so with that, it's like, a post about within a specific arena, area, niche, what new regulations are coming on board and how can you deal with them? Or what's one regulation that's come on board and this is what you need to do as a leader of your nonprofit? How to strengthen your business against new competition. 3 things to do. Tools to get a better vision, an overview of how your business is doing, or people to kind of resources to use or people to lean on if you want to get a better view of what's happening in and out of your organization. So again, spitballing here, those are the kinds of things that you can start thinking about writing about to help these people go from Island A to Island B. Is that clear? Any questions there?
Yeah, maybe in this process, do you coach people to make these descriptions more like precise, sharper?
Yes, the sharper and the clearer they can be, the easier it will be for them to write something about it. And this is, if you haven't done this before, this is why it's a practice. It isn't a one and done. You start, you talk, you do it again, you try things out, you do it again. And it's a work in progress. It's like a living document in the end.
Mm-hmm. And usually when we share with people, we get this sharper by ourselves and also listening to other stories. So
yeah,
nice to
exactly.
do.
Yeah. And this is where, you know, I would do this over a period of a month and a session a week where we tackle each of these things. We discuss, then we'll do stuff, and we'll come back and discuss. And again, have a more of a, make it a practice rather than just a lesson. Okay, is there anyone else that we can look at here that has a few? Here we go. That's me. Let's try this one. Yeah, use this.
Here we go.
Welcome back. Well, first, apologies. Again, this is super time boxed. Probably a lot more you want to do and say and try, but again, like you're going to provide you with the structure. We're going to play with it here, but the work will be done outside of this group. I hope you've managed to get some ideas down. What I'm going to do is just going to briefly look at one of the boards that were created, and just to give you a sense of what done could look like. And I'm going to pick someone I know, because then it's easier for me to explain how this could work. And it's going to be Kerry. So I'm going to interpret what Kerry put down. For me, one of the key things, and when she put who she's serving, it was really clear for me who she's serving. And the way I would articulate that, she said copywriters, content creators, small business founders, solopreneurs. A lot of the time, these people on their own who need to write for a living, who find writing is part of what's going to help them push their business forward or help their business. And there's Island A is this thing called AI has arrived. And like, what is it going to do for my work? How can I use this for my work? And what I liked about the language she uses, emotive, as well as some tangible things that are challenging. And so words about confused, overwhelmed, feeling left behind, worry about their jobs. It's really clear what's going on in Island A. And then with Island B, it felt like there's a contrast here. It's like from kind of confused to confident, nervous to excited, overwhelmed to knowledgeable, not knowing which tools to knowing which tools. And it's like, okay, I can see what the difference is going to be here. And then that leads it easier to then articulating some of the things that are getting in the way. So there's this idea, there's fear, again, fear of losing their jobs, thinking they left it too late. So, oh my God, there's like, what am I going to, how am I going to catch up? Everyone's ahead of me. What do I use? I'm not technical enough. The next step is this. All right, now we know what's getting in the way. What could I write? Well, first thing's like 3 tools that you could get on with right now without having to think. That's the overwhelm thing. I'm not techy enough. Some simple use cases for AI in your business as a non-techie. How you can catch, it's never too late to try AI. And what does that mean? Which jobs are never going to be touched by AI, for instance, if there's an opinion there. So it starts to create some ideas that you can put together to write about within this context. So I just wanted to give that as an exemplar of where you can get to once you start working with this. And Kerry is a copywriter, so she knows this stuff well. Right. So with that in mind, and I know some of your boards may not be as rich and as full as that, but with that in mind, what I wanted to go on to next is just talking about the hook. And I'm going to talk a bit more about the content and the structure, how you write. But one of the things that I've found that's most important with most social media and even with emails is what is it that's going to pull someone in and to engage with actually reading the post. And with LinkedIn, it's usually the first 2 lines are the things that is actually going to attract someone's attention. And so if that doesn't speak to them in any way, if that doesn't create some interest or curiosity, then there's a good chance it will just go through the feed. And that's why I said, I was stressing, it's really important to know who you're writing for. Because if you don't know who you're writing for, then you can't be specific about the words to use that's going to speak to them. And again, having island A, having island B, knowing what their challenges are, helps you articulate the things, use the right words, the right few words that's going to make them sit up and listen, or sit up and read, I should say. And so I'm just going to show a little bit of an example of what a post can look like. And I'll talk a bit more about the structure later. But in terms of here, the hook I was trying to use,
Can you
which
make
is
it
related.
bigger, please?
Yes, I will try and make it bigger for you.
Thank you.
How do I make it big? This screen. Here we go. All right, bear with me. Can you see that?
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, right. So if I was going to say who I'm writing for, similar to the kinds of people that Kerry was talking about, small business owners particularly, Island A is like, I really can't get into the habit of writing. It drains me. Island B is I'm excited and enthusiastic about it. So simple topic hook for me, posting to LinkedIn feels draining. Yes, I know that's me. But you know it helps your business. Yes, that's me. And then I'm going to, this for me, I'm drawing in with some empathy, and then I'm going to try and tell them how to make it easier. Yeah. So ultimately, the first thing, the line that I was trying to get here is how do I bring people in that either speaks to them empathetically, that's me, and the other ways that people use it is that there's a problem that you can solve here. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you some things. So to give you an example of some hooks that I've seen people suggest, love them or loathe them, but these are some examples, is like how people fail at doing this thing, or why this approach isn't helping anymore. So, okay, what that approach isn't helping, what can help? Here's what people are getting wrong. A number of unexpected ways to get better at LinkedIn. 7 things to help you write better on LinkedIn. Okay, cool. I know what I'm to expect here. And if I'm that kind of person who wants to write on LinkedIn, I'm going to be interested in that. So that is the principle around the hook, is you're really trying to speak to a challenge or a problem that you've identified by doing that initial exercise. So what we're going to do now is get into your groups again, but we're going to give you a bit of time. Just spend just 3 minutes brainstorming some stuff for yourself, some hooks that you would think would be interesting to play with. Again, perfection is the enemy of done. Getting some ideas down is most important. And then with that, just talk about that. Now that you know who the other people are writing for and the challenges are, maybe you can coach each other or suggest other kind of hooks that might be interesting to use. Make sense? Cool. So we're going to keep you in those rooms. Let's see how much time have we got? Let's do, let's do 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes or so. Spend some time individually writing, and then start talking about what hooks you have, suggest some hooks, and play with this idea of that first line that's going to draw people in, particularly the people that you want to work with. Okay.
Here we go.
See you in a bit. Have fun.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Monica.
Good. Food for thought.
Lots
Food
of
for thought. That's good.
yeah.
Carlos, Carolina had a question. I don't know if you're going to cover it or not, but we started our first couple lines with a question, trying to engage the reader. Is there another strategy within those first 2 lines other than using questions?
Yeah, well, give me an example of a question that you were posing.
Are you tired of long, boring meetings that get nowhere?
Okay. Yeah, so another way of doing that is how to energize your meetings and keep them focused. So yeah, that's how I would reframe a question. So yeah, we didn't have time to go into it. If you're going to do this systematically, is when you've gone from, all right, these are the things getting in the way, then you think, well, what are the questions based on these themes that people will ask themselves? And then when you've got the questions, how could I turn them into like topics or headlines or hooks that I'd use for the first line of a post? So that is, if we had more time, we would go through that sequence in a bit more detail. But exposing you to some ideas and a process. Hopefully some of this will soak in and help. But yeah, I would encourage you, if you have people on this call, to maybe get together and work together on this and go through the process and use the guide that we'll be sending out as something to lean on. And an invitation would be for a bunch of you to then commit to posting for 7 days in sequence using this approach and see what it feels like. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close off with some of the bits and pieces that I think can help with creating a habit. And I like the idea of structure, not to constrain you, but as something to settle into so that it feels like you don't have to think too much. First thing around the structure is really thinking about the structure of the post. And so as a creative constraint, and this is what I learned from a guy called David Hyatt, who's founder of the Do Lectures, who did a workshop on LinkedIn, and this is what inspired me to do this work, was structure, to help you just structure your thoughts, but structure also to make it visually more easy to read. Sometimes people can just write lots of paragraphs, and that can be quite a strain, particularly on a social media platform. So if you can space things out, give the writing a cadence, a beat, a visual beat, then it's just easier to scan for people to get the things that they need to get. And so the structure that's proposed here is you have your 2 lines that comprise of the hook and maybe a bit more context. The story structure that I like to use with this, that I got from a friend of mine called Toby Moore, is, as well as the hook, is why is this thing important? So how to make your energizing meetings more energizing, because that way you're going to have more effective meetings. What are the 3 things about an energizing or a meeting that isn't energizing, or 3 things that are important? What 3 benefits of having an energizing meeting? Like better ideas, more engaged people, faster solutions. And then the 2 lines are okay, and with that, this is how you can energize your meetings. And the 3 bullet points are A, B, and C. Whatever you think are the 3 things that they can do, simple things that they can use to energize their meetings. And then the final line can be a call to action. And the call to action could be, contact me if you want to find out more, or it could be, suggest your energizers for meetings and put that into the comments so that it can create some engagement and some conversation. And the other thing is to use hashtags. And one of the reasons, to use hashtags is to increase the visibility of the post, so to have the relevance. So if it's hashtag meetings, hashtag energy, hashtags motivators, whatever it is that you can see that are hashtags in your area of expertise, but also maybe a hashtag to allow people to find all your posts. So I have a hashtag Carlosophy, and it's this idea, right? If you want to find all of my posts, search for the hashtag Carlosophy, and you'll see all of those posts on LinkedIn. It'll be an easy way to get to them. So it could be your business name, it could be the product name that you have, but just a way for people to find you more easily. So that's the thing about structure. The other thing I wanted to talk about was scheduling, and this idea of you don't have to write the post the same time you're going to post the post. And you can see in the guide the details around that. But the most important thing, I think the simplest thing, is to go to the fact that on LinkedIn, next to the post button is a little clock. You click on that clock and you can set the day and the time on which the post can go out. So for instance, on a Sunday, if you so wish, and you have nothing better to do, you could write all 7 posts and have them go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to Sunday, and then you relax for the rest of the week. And the only thing you need to do then is, when the post has gone out, see if any comments come up and reply to them and engage. Hi, Fanny. I'm going to just finish this off, and then I'll come back to you with questions. The final thing I wanted to talk about here, which is a big thing I think, for social media, something I'm very passionate about, is self-care, not to be burnt out by this process. And that's why I'm proposing 7 days to start off with. Just make it something finite and see how it feels. And also just make it something of a ritual, not a chore. I don't know, get a cup of tea, light a candle, find a comfy chair, find somewhere that gets you in that space of it being joyful rather than painful. And that way you're more likely to keep up that habit. And also, don't think, again, like I said at the beginning, don't think about likes, comments, any kind of reach. Think of it as a creative journey, as a process to think out loud and to share your opinion. And one of the most important things to think about is to have a position on things, to have a point of view. That's the most important thing I believe about writing, because that then gives people an understanding of where you're coming from and create some connection. Sometimes people will disagree. That's great, because some people will also agree. I will stop there and I will open up for any questions over the last 5 minutes or so. I know there's a lot there. I apologize. Fanny, I saw you had a question.
Yes, because I've heard that we better put a link for if you want to link to a website or to a subscription or whatever in the comment. And I asked that question because I have all the posts ready to schedule, and I
Brilliant.
don't schedule them because I'm supposed to add the links in the comments. I don't. I obviously I cannot schedule the comments. So what do you think about that?
So there's two things. Firstly, I would say fine with scheduling, and just then remember to go in and put in the comment. You know, even if you're an hour late or something like that, not an issue. But at least you're not having to write and think at the same time. And also, if you miss it, it will still go out. In terms of actually where to put the comments, I have actually just yesterday, there's a guy I think you should probably all check out, a guy called Sam Brown, and I'll just show you. He's nearly up to 100,000 followers on LinkedIn. He's the kind of person who shares a lot in terms of guides on LinkedIn. And one of the things he shared, which I found, was with your links, don't put it only just in the first comment. Type in a comment and then put the link as a reply to that comment. Not sure why, what it is, but this is the latest thing I've heard around to allow your posts to be more visible is to definitely not put it in the actual post itself, but not necessarily put it as a first link. You put in the link and then a comment, and then you reply to that comment with the link. I will share the link to this post so you can read a bit more if you
So you are commenting on your own post, and then
your exactly.
So
commenting on your own. Oh.
So you comment like yourself, or you?
Yeah. You comment yourself. So in this case, the way he suggested it, if you know people who will benefit from this post, please like it. So that will, that will make it more visible for them. And then as a reply, if you want to find out more about me and my work, follow this link. And
as a reply to your first comment.
As a reply to your first comment. That's the suggestion.
Okay. So it doesn't change the fact that if you schedule, you have to go back to your...
It doesn't change the fact. No.
Okay.
It doesn't change that fact. But the idea of just putting the link as a comment, apparently not as great as not as a great strategy as before.
Okay.
I have a, because today I after a long time I posted something about an activity that I did. So my feeling is how, I mean, I don't want to be salesy, trying to sell something that looks, so I'm feeling that with all the structure and all the content that you need to create, I don't know if you need to actually show a little bit more sort of what is here, what you might, or follow what your audience want, or the journey to island B, or so something that is kind of more intellectual creation of yourself to express what you aim for, your goals or whatever. And how you balance that with actually posting, guys, I did this, it was fantastic, I did it with this person, people enjoyed it, kind of showing perhaps the benefits of what you did, or you show the benefits to your audience of what you did. So how
is the question, how do you balance between stuff that's kind of promotion,
balance,
sales,
or, or there is a rule about do you just create original content, just actually
Okay.
talk about what is.
I'm worried. I'll tackle that straight away. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. Just post every day. Yeah. Is it salesy? Fine. Just write and just get into the habit.
Okay.
Bear in mind, I think the key thing is, who are you writing for and what are you trying to help them with? Yes, this is going to be for your business. At some point, it's going to be salesy. But if you're thinking, should it be salesy? Should be, let's just write, post every day, have a structure. And so the guide is really getting you into the habit of being able to write every day without it being a chore.
Mm-hmm.
What you write is up to you. But ultimately, I've seen if you're consistent, if you do something that's helpful and you do it over a longer period of time, it does have a measurable impact in terms of making connections with people. But ultimately, I think it has a measurable impact on your own creativity and developing of your ideas. Because the more we think out loud, the more we get clarity. I like the idea that basically I talk to speak to make sure, I talk to think to make sure I still agree with myself. It's like by actually writing it, I clarify my own ideas and say, yes, that makes sense. Or it doesn't, I'm going to try something else. I'm really conscious of time. I'm sorry if you have any other questions, maybe I'll just share my email address or find me on LinkedIn and I'll be happy to answer those questions there. Otherwise, I hope that has given you a window into what it could be to post regularly and how that would benefit you.
Yeah, maybe we can ask people to write in the chat what is your takeaway from this practice, and just to have a sense. And while people are writing there, I'm just want to say thank you, and because it was so good. I mean, I participated and it was so awesome to get some ideas, and I think in a start point maybe. But the most thing that I like is have a joy doing it. And I love that. So, yeah, thank you everyone, and so thank you for your presence and all your knowledge and everything you shared with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.